hug him with both of my arms under him like a child because he's so gigantic. Okay, so the first thing that I want to tell you about me, okay, is that while my JOB is a youth pastor, I'm an athlete at heart. I've always been an athlete at heart. I love sports. In particular, yes, give it up for sports. Yeah, of course, yeah. In particular, basketball is the best sport, obviously. But really anything with a ball. Give me anything with a ball and we're vibing, okay? Which is part of what, no, not golf. Thanks for pointing that out, not golf. Give me anything else with a ball. Cricket. What? Yeah, bowling's a vibe, Football, yeah, football's great. Wait, I heard something. Dodgeball. No, we're going to end right there. Let me tell you about dodgeball, okay? Let me tell you about dodgeball. Listen, I love dodgeball. I love dodgeball. And honestly, that's probably why I became a youth pastor, if we're honest. Like, I love dodgeball. It's awesome. The thing is, I can go to like a gathering with other adults, and everyone's sitting around in a circle. Everyone's sharing what they do for a living, right? I'm a lawyer, and I get to defend my client. My client won $50,000 on their case. Oh, well, I'm a defense contractor in my company. We supply the government with billions of dollars of it. Well, I'm a heart surgeon, and I get to, whatever. I get to take a ball and hit kids with it. Yeah. And they love me for it. It's the best. In fact, let me tell you something. Your cabin leader can't wait to hit you with a ball this weekend. Let me tell you, they can't wait to hit you with a ball. No, for real. No, you can look at them and ask. I promise you, they can't wait. They can't wait. Wait. But especially if you are a 6th grade boy. Oh, let me tell you. If you are a 6th grade boy, your cabin leader can't wait to hit you with something. I mean, last night they were watching you throw toilet paper at each other, and they were just like, I was watching them. I was watching your cabin leaders. I was in there last night watching them, and they were just like, I can't wait. Like, soon. But because here's the thing. Your cabin leader loves you. They can't wait to talk about the things that matter, for you to open up a little bit about what's going on at home, your anxieties. They can't wait to pray with you, talk about Jesus, whatever. They can't wait to hit you with something. It's going to be awesome. They can't wait, man. In fact, I don't know where Barrett is in the room. He probably up there somewhere, whatever. I don't know where Barrett is in the room. But Barrett, I get that last night was like dodgeball-esque. But if we don't play, I don't really know what's on the schedule like that. Where is he? Why are you? Okay. Listen, if we do not play real dodgeball this weekend at some point, then you have to name your next child after me. That's the rule. I'm sorry. Huh? If it is a boy, if the child be born a boy, his name shall be Michael. But wait, if the child be born a girl, her name shall be Michael. Yeah. That's the rule. I'm sorry. That's the rule. Yeah. Hey, the thing about dodgeball, the thing that I love about dodgeball that makes dodgeball so fun is the thing that makes dodgeball so dangerous, if you will. And that is that you can be paying such attention to what's going on directly in front of you. But if you are not paying attention to what's going on over here, and over here, that's how you get your T clocked, right there. That's how it happens. That's it right there. It's just out of nowhere, just boom. Because Dodgeball is a game where you have to use your peripheral vision. You have to. It is so important to use your peripheral vision in dodgeball. Incredible. Now listen. Yeah, Yep, you got to use your peripheral vision. So the thing about dodgeball is you got to use your peripheral vision. But if we're honest though, peripheral vision is not just important in dodgeball, is it? Like using your peripheral vision is important in other areas of life too, right? Like you know when you walking down the hallway of your school, you know what I'm saying? And you kind of, you're not really allowed to have your phone anymore, you know. Thanks, Loudoun County. But back in the good old days, when you could have your phone out, you walking down the hallway of your school. Listen, you have to be able to see all the people that's going on, right? You got to see everything that's going on. If you're not paying attention you don't have your peripheral vision going, like you could run into someone in sports. The best passers in whatever sport you enjoy, they have excellent peripheral vision. If you are driving, which none of you are yet, but if you are riding your bike, you have to have your good peripheral vision. Although it's dangerous if you don't. You have to have good peripheral vision. And when you don't, it's problematic. But, and I don't know if you ever thought about this before, one of the worst things that you can possibly do is have your eyes centrally fixated on something that should be in your peripheral vision. Like if you're walking in school, you have to be able to see the person that's passing by you. But if you're walking and someone's passing by you there and you're looking at them like this, you know what I'm saying? Like they should be in your peripheral. You're gonna crash into somebody or something. There are certain things that belong in your peripheral vision. They belong there. If you're bringing the ball up the court in basketball, you need to be able to see your coach. Listen to the plays that your coach is calling out for you. But if you are dribbling the ball up the court with your eyes like this, coach? That's a turnover waiting to happen, right? In all kinds of areas of life, you have to be willing to use your peripheral vision, but if you have something centrally fixated in your vision that belongs in your peripheral, that's dangerous. And that's what we're going to talk about over the course of the next few days, because I am convinced that as human beings, and especially in middle school, a lot of us got some stuff that we have centrally fixated right here, right in front of our vision, that really belongs in our peripheral. So that's what we're talking about over the course of the next few days. So if you have a Bible, we are headed to Matthew chapter 17. Matthew chapter 17 is where we're headed. If you've got a Bible, you can turn there. Just so you know, I am going to be using the NLT version. If you have a different translation, it will say something slightly different, but it'll essentially be the same message. Matthew chapter 17 is where we're going. Now, as you're turning to Matthew 17, let me set up for you what's going on here, okay? So, the Jewish people, okay, in the first century, and really way before the first century, they had grown up accustomed to a certain religious system called the Old Covenant. In the Old Covenant, they had, in part of the way that they experienced God was super different than the way we experience God now, in some ways. One of the ways that the Jewish people experienced God, but the Israelites back in the days of the Old Covenant was through prophets. And so they had these prophets and these leaders that would come along and they would kind of channel what God said right to the people so that they could understand what it was God wanted them to do. But then also they had all of these legendary leaders that became these like legends, these like almost myths, except they were real, right? In the faith, in their culture. You got guys like, when I'm talking about legends, I'm talking about guys like Abraham. You know what I mean? Like Abraham was a legend, right? You got like King David. Oh yeah, King David. That was the man after God's own heart. That's right. Yeah, King David. I remember King David. Yeah, David and Goliath, and he was like, not today, right? Just boom, right? So yeah, we remember, right? We remember David. Yeah, okay, cool. Like Moses, right? Yeah, Moses before David. But yeah, like Moses, right? Oh yeah, we remember Moses. Yeah, he was like the leader of leaders. Like he was like, what a champion. He like led our people out of slavery, right? Like that's like, we like that, you know, that's good. Right? And then of course, you got Elijah. And Elijah was goated. Like, he just was like the best. You know what I mean? Like, he just was like, he was awesome. And so if you grew up Jewish in the first century, you knew all about these legends of the faith. You had heard their stories. You had read the scriptures. You knew everything there was to know about their life. But then Elijah was goated. Then a new goat came onto the scene in the first century. His name was Jesus, right? And so Jesus comes onto the scene, and if you've grown up going to Cornerstone, or you've gone to Cornerstone for a little while, you probably know that one of the things Jesus did when he came onto the scene was he gathered 12 disciples to come follow him around, learn from him. He getting ready to prep them, launch them out to go start, this movement, this faith that we call Christianity. And so there were 3 of those disciples. All the disciples were Jewish men. 3 of the disciples Jesus was closest to. Inner circle, inner posse. 3 of them, he was like, y'all my boys. Like, y'all all my boys, and I love all of y'all. In fact, I love the whole world. But 3 of y'all are like we tight, right? And so one day, Jesus decided to take those 3 dudes up to a mountaintop to be alone. And so we're going to talk about that moment because, and before we do, let me tell you about these 3 dudes a little bit. You got Peter, James, and John. We won't get into each of their stories individually too much, but let me tell you something about them. Peter, James, and John knew what it was like to grow up at Cornerstone. Like, they knew what it was to, like, have the Bible preached. You know what I mean? They knew what it was to know the scriptures. They knew what it was to be so familiar with the things of church and the things of religion that it starts to get like, wah, wah, wah. Like, you hear it so much. Peter, James, and John knew that life. They grew up good, religious Jewish boys. And so they knew the legends of the faith. But what happens on this mountaintop? They experience God, and they experience these legends of the faith that they had heard about in a way that they never would have imagined, in the way that they respond in that moment. And then the way that God then responds to their response is going to set us up for this peripheral series. So we are in Matthew 17, and we are starting in verse, I think 1. That makes sense. Okay, Matthew 17, starting in verse 1. Here is what happened. Verse 1, 6 days later, Jesus took Peter and the 2 brothers, James and John, and led them up on a high mountain to be alone. As the men watched, Jesus' appearance was transformed so that his face shone like the sun, and his clothes became as white as light. And suddenly, Moses and Elijah appeared and began talking with Jesus. Listen, I pause right there. I have no idea what Jesus said to Peter, James, and John to invite them up on the mountaintop. Knowing Jesus, it was probably pretty vague. But I tell you what Peter, James, and John didn't think was going to happen. They didn't think that they were going to go up on that mountaintop and experience a glow party with people just right? And just that is not what they thought was going to happen when they got up there. And listen, the crazy thing about this is that Moses and Elijah, I don't know how much, if you're not tracking the timeline of history here, how Moses and Elijah have been not on earth anymore for forever, literally 1,000+ years. It's been a long time. And they're just all of a sudden we're back, right? And so I can't even imagine for Peter, James, and John how crazy this moment must have been to have Moses and Elijah all of a sudden they just show up. It is absolutely crazy that this happened, right? It is crazy that this happened. Let me ask you a question. What is your typical reaction when something insane happens? Some of us, well, hold on. Let me run through a couple of options. I'm going to run through a couple of options, and then we'll vote by show of hands, okay? There are 3 ways that someone can possibly, there's probably more, really. But I'll list 3 ways that people react, okay? Sometimes, some of us, when something insane happens, we run. Where are my runners? Okay. Some of us, when something insane happens, we freeze. We have freeze people. Okay, we got some freeze people. You're like, yeah, if a T-Rex is coming at me, I just stand there and die. And then there are some of us who act, okay? If you're an act, okay, good. We got some, okay, good. And then there's a 4th category. Some of us, when something insane happens, we yap. Do I have any yappers in the room? Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay, let me tell you, yappers. If you know anything about the disciple Peter, You know he was a yapper kind of guy, okay? Something insane happens. Peter starts running his mouth, right? And that is that is exactly what happens, okay? Verse 4. Peter exclaimed, Lord, it's wonderful for us to be here. If you want, I can make 3 shelters as memorials. I can make one for you. I can make one for Elijah. I can make one for Moses. But pause. So Peter acknowledges how crazy this moment is. And he wants to jump into action. He wants to do stuff. He wants to say words, right? I don't know how it went down or how close they were or how pointed the mountaintop is. You know, mountaintops can come to a point, right? And you're like, how are they standing on flat ground if it's up at the mountain? Anyway, that's not related to the sermon. I'm just thinking about that. Okay, so I don't know where they were at, what the setup was. But in my head, I'm like, you got Moses, Elijah, Jesus, they're over here, and they're just like, right? And they're just, right, they're all in perfect harmony, just glowing together, right? And they're having a chat, right? And then you've got, Peter, James, and John, and they're over on the corner sitting on a rock looking, and Peter he just starts yapping. Oh, Jesus, I want to do that. And here's the thing, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Peter sees Jesus doing amazing, cool, Jesus-y things. He can't explain it. He doesn't know what's happening, but he knows something really cool is happening right in front of him. And he wants to add to the party. He wants to jump in and do something to add to it. In fact, he wants to do something that's aligned with his culture. He wants to go and build some shelters, some memorials, build something so that when all the other people that he goes back down on the mountain, he tells them about it, and they can come back up to this mountain as good Jewish people, come back, and they can memorialize this moment. This was the mountain where the epic glow party happened with 2 dead guys and the new goat, right? Like he just wants to do something good. Peter wants to do something good. He wants to honor this moment. It's so good. And that's why it was a little surprising when God responds. The way that God responds. So we are in verse 5. But even as he spoke, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and a voice from the cloud said, This is my dearly loved son, who brings me great joy. Listen to him. So we're clear when it says, there it is, okay. No, go back a different one. Yeah, No, go forward. Sorry. Yeah, okay. But even as he spoke, you know what that means, right? That means that God literally interrupted Peter's yapping. Even as he spoke means that Peter was mid-sentence. And God was like, this is my son. Listen to him. Listen, Peter's over here, and he starts, something crazy happens. He starts, Jesus, hey, Moses, Jesus, Elijah, sirs. Hey, what do you think? You want me to make a shelter? I saw a tree halfway up the mountain. I think it was pine. It might have been oak or maybe maple or something like that. And I could cut it down and I could make a shelter. What do you want your shelter to be? An octagon? That's cool. I can do that. I can do an octagon. Maybe a hexagon would be cool. Hey, are you guys hungry? Because if you're hungry, maybe I could go down. We could get some Chick-fil-A, or maybe we get a McDonald's Happy Meal with a yellow banana or something like that, right? And it'll be great, right? I don't know if they sell those, but we'll find a yellow banana, right? Bear with it. Right? Which is, I can get you whatever you need, and God's like, shut up. This is my dearly loved son, Jesus. In this moment, Peter is about him. So soak it in. And the way that God responds in this moment says something so important about how God views things that matter but don't matter as much. It says something so important about things in our lives, that the way God views things in our lives, the things we want to do that matter but don't matter as much. And for Peter and James and John in this moment, Peter wanted to do something good, and he brought that something good straight to the front of his vision, centrally in front of his vision. And God interrupted his mid-yap sesh. He said, that Peter belongs over here. Because the person of Jesus is central. And some of you this morning, you really needed this Bible passage. You really needed to hear the word on this topic, because for some of us, we have some things that are so good. They're not even bad. We have some things that are so good that are central in our vision, and they don't belong there. Like for some of you, like there's nothing wrong with looking good, man. You got your hair, right? Fitness, you know what I'm saying? You got a little style, you got your makeup, cosmetics, all that kind of stuff, right? You've been working out a little bit, you got a muscle somewhere, right? Like that's somewhere, it's crazy. There's nothing wrong with looking good. No, looking good is so good. There's nothing wrong with trying to be your best self, look as good as you can. There's nothing, that's not evil. But for some of you, looking good has become such a deep part of your identity. It is something that is not bad, but it is central, front and center in front of your vision, and it doesn't belong there. For some of you, the sport that you play, it's so good. It's so good. I mean, it has taught you so much about determination and resiliency. Listen, I have at least one kid in the room who, I was their coach for a sport. So I know, listen, I love sports, okay? I'm all about sports. So I'm about it. I love it. Obviously, I opened by saying I'm an athlete. But listen, for some of you, the sport that you play has become such a central part of your identity that it has moved from being over here to front and center in front of your vision, and it doesn't belong there. For some of you, friendship, your friends. Oh my goodness, God said in the beginning, it is not good for man to be alone. It is not good for mankind to be alone, and you have found that to be true. Your friends, they comfort you. They are present with you when you're going through difficult things. Your friends have been amazing in your life. But your friends, and the opinion of your friends, has gone from over here to front and center in front of your vision, and it doesn't belong there. Maybe I've named your thing. Maybe I haven't. Maybe we'll explore it over the course of this weekend, or maybe you'll talk about it in cabin groups later. The point isn't for me to sit up here and name every single thing that's possible that you could have that should be in your peripheral vision but is front and center. The point is simply this, there are some things in your life that are good and God-honoring. They can be, at least. But you have them right here. And there is nothing more dangerous. We said this at the top of the message. There's nothing more dangerous than having something front and center in your vision that should be in your peripheral. So, on that mountaintop, God made a statement. And that statement is something that we're going to put, it's the point of our message here, and it's kind of going to be our theme for the weekend. And the point in that statement is here, of our overarching statement is this, is that knowing the King overshadows everything. Knowing the King overshadows everything. There's nothing better. There's nothing more important. There is nothing that should be more centrally in front of your face than knowing the King. The reason that Jesus is the GOAT is because Jesus is the King. And the King came that he might become central and everything else be pushed to different levels of peripheral in our vision. When that is the case, I promise you, your Christianity will feel better. I promise you that your faith will be a whole lot more joyful. I promise you that the person that you become will be someone that you look in the mirror every day and you can say, good job, we're doing it. Every day not going to be perfect, but you will become the person that you want to become when knowing the King overshadows everything. And we're going to talk more this weekend about a couple of different areas of our life that should be in our peripheral, but instead they're front and center. But just for today, for this morning, during your talk time, as we're going throughout the day, I want you to ask yourself an honest question. And that honest question is simply this. What is an area of my life? What is something in my life that should be in my peripheral, but currently I have it central, front and center, in front of my vision? Let me pray. God, I'm so thankful for this group. I'm thankful for you, for sending your son. I'm thankful for what happened up on that mountaintop. I can't explain it. I don't know all of the significance. I don't know everything about it. But I'm thankful for that moment, and I'm thankful that you would be so kind as to remind us over and over again to keep you front and center. I pray that we'd be willing to do that we'd be open to exploring that this weekend, and what that looks like. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.